Justice League is a 2017 American superhero film based on the DC Comics superhero team. Produced by Warner Brothers Pictures, DC Films, Rat Pack Dune Entertainment B Atlas Entertainment, and Cruel and Unusual Films, and distributed by Warner Brothers. It is the fifth installment in the DC Extended Universe, DCEU. Directed by Zack Snyder and written by Chris Terrio and Joss Whedon, the film features an ensemble cast including Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher, Amy Adams, Jeremy Irons, Diane Lane, Connie Nielsen, and J.K. Simmons. In the film, following the events of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, 2016, Batman and Wonder Woman recruit the Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg after the death of Superman to save the world from the catastrophic threat of Steppenwolf and his army of parademons. Warner Brothers began to develop a live-action Justice League film in 2007 with George Miller set to direct, but the project was cancelled due to production delays and budgetary concerns. Principal photography took place from April to October 2016. After Snyder stepped down from the film following the death of his daughter, Whedon was hired to oversee the remainder of post-production, including writing and directing additional scenes, as well as reshooting a large portion of the film, which changed many aspects of it. Snyder ultimately retained sole credit as director. With an estimated production budget of $300 million, Justice League is one of the most expensive films ever made. Justice League premiered at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles on November 13, 2017, and was released in the United States 4 days later. The film received mixed to negative reviews from critics, and grossed $661.3 million worldwide against an assumed break-even point of $750 million. A director's cut, titled Zack Snyder's Justice League, was released on HBO Max in 2021, following a fan campaign that advocated for Snyder's vision for the film. Plot: Steppenwolf and his legions of parademons attempt to take over the Earth using the combined energies of the three mother boxes. The attempt is foiled by a unified alliance including the Olympian gods, Amazons, Atlanteans, humanity, and extraterrestrial beings. See, the mother boxes are separated and hidden in different locations. Thousands of years later, Superman's death following the battle with Doomsday reactivates the boxes, attracting Steppenwolf again to Earth. He aims to gather the boxes to form the Unity, which would instantly devastate Earth and terraform it into a copy of his home world. Steppenwolf retrieves one mother box from Themyscira, prompting Queen Hippolyta to warn her daughter Diana. Diana joins Bruce Wayne in an attempt to unite other meta-humans to their cause. Wayne goes after Arthur Curry and Barry Allen, while Diana locates Victor Stone. Bruce fails to persuade Arthur but finds Barry enthusiastic. Victor joins after his father Silas and other STAR Labs employees are kidnapped by Steppenwolf, who is seeking the mother box protected by humanity. Steppenwolf attacks an Atlantean outpost to retrieve the next mother box, forcing Arthur into action. Victor retrieves the last mother box for the group, revealing that his father used it to rebuild Victor's body after an accident almost killed him. Knowing this information, Bruce decides to use the mother box to resurrect Superman, not only to help them fight off Steppenwolf's invasion but also to restore hope to humanity. Clark Kent's body is exhumed and placed in the amniotic fluid of the Genesis chamber in the Kryptonian scout ship, along with the mother box, successfully resurrecting him. However, his memories have not returned, and he attacks the group. Batman enacts his contingency plan, Lois Lane. Superman calms down and leaves with her to his family home in Smallville, where his memories come back. In the turmoil, the last mother box is left unguarded, allowing Steppenwolf to retrieve it. Without Superman to aid them, the five heroes travel to a village in Russia, where Steppenwolf's lair is located. They fight their way through the parademons. Just when all hope seems lost, Superman arrives and assists Victor in separating the mother boxes. The team defeats Steppenwolf, who is attacked by his own parademons when they smell his fear. After the battle, Bruce and Diana set up a base of operations for the team. Diana and Arthur resume their heroic duties. Barry acquires a job in Central City's police department. Victor continues to enhance his abilities with his father in STAR Labs. Superman resumes his life as reporter Clark Kent and protector of Earth. In a post-credits scene, Lex Luthor has escaped from Arkham Asylum and recruits Slade Wilson to form a league of their own. Cast. Further information, list of DC Extended Universe cast members and characters of the DC Extended Universe. Cast of Justice League at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con with Zack Snyder. Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne/Batman. A wealthy socialite, and the owner of Wayne Enterprises. He dedicates himself to protecting Gotham City from its criminal underworld as a highly trained, masked vigilante equipped with various tools and weapons. Affleck noted on how the film gave him an opportunity to reinvent Batman and portray a more classic take on the character. He described that in the film, audiences will see Batman as more heroic, and more of a leader. Batman is by nature, while not necessarily antisocial, pretty private, pretty a loner, Affleck says. And then in this movie he's thrust into the role of having to not only work with people, but bring them together and convince them to come in and try to, somehow with Wonder Woman, hold all that community effort together. That was a really interesting thing to play for me, and it also does take us to a more traditional role for Batman in the Justice League comics, and his role with the Justice League versus the sort of less typical version we saw in Batman v Superman, where he was blinded by rage and wanted to take on Superman. 10-11. Henry Cavill as Clark Kent/Superman. A member of, and inspiration for, the Justice League. He is a Kryptonian survivor and a journalist for the Daily Planet based in Metropolis. In Justice League, Superman was portrayed as more optimistic and hopeful. The character was intentionally excluded from all Justice League marketing materials to emphasize his death as depicted on Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. 12. Gal Gadot as Diana Prince/Wonder Woman. An antiquities dealer, acquaintance of Wayne, and an immortal Amazonian warrior who is the crown princess of Themyscira and daughter of Hippolyta and Zeus. She is endowed with meta-human attributes and abilities inherited from her parents. Ezra Miller as Barry Allen/The Flash. A Central City University student who can move at superhuman speeds with his ability to tap into the Speed Force. Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry/Aquaman. Half-human and half-Atlantean meta-human with superhuman strength and aquatic abilities. Momoa was cast as Aquaman in June 2014, and made a cameo appearance in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. 13-14. Ray Fisher as Victor Stone/Cyborg. A former college athlete who, after being cybernetically reconstructed after a nearly fatal car accident, is turned into a techno-organic being enhanced by reactive, adaptive biomimetic alien technology. His enhancements include the abilities of flight, variable weaponry, and technopathy. Fisher portrays the character through the use of motion capture for the cybernetic portion of his body. 15. Fisher was cast as Cyborg in April 2014, and made a cameo in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. 16. Amy Adams as Lois Lane. An undaunted and compassionate award-winning journalist for the Daily Planet and the love interest for Kent. Jeremy Irons as Alfred Pennyworth. Wayne's butler, chief of security, and trusted confidant. Diane Lane as Martha Kent. Kent's adoptive mother. Connie Nielsen as Queen Hippolyta. Diana's mother and the Amazonian Queen of Themyscira. J.K. Simmons as Commissioner James Gordon. The Gotham City Police Department Commissioner, and close ally of Batman. Siren Hines as Steppenwolf. An alien military officer from Apocalypse who leads an army of parademons and is searching for the 3 mother boxes held on Earth. The character is described as old, tired, and trying to find a way to escape his role of servitude under Darkseid. 17 Hines portrayed the villain through use of motion capture and received some advice in the process from Liam Neeson, who had recently done similar work in A Monster Calls. 18 After the release of the film, Hines was reportedly unhappy with the final cut of the film, which trimmed down the backstory and characterization of Steppenwolf. Citation needed. Amber Heard as Mara, a princess of Zeeble who approaches Curry to discuss the nature of the mother boxes. 19. Joe Morton as Silas Stone, Victor Stone's father and head of STAR Labs. During a scene a half hour into the film, depicting Steppenwolf's first invasion thousands of years earlier, Olympian old gods Zeus, Ares, and Artemis are portrayed by fitness model Sergi Constance, stuntman Nick McKinless, and MMA fighter Aurora Lazaral, respectively. 2021 non-primary source needed. All three were required to reach a specific degree of physicality, with Snyder instructing McKinless to sport veins like worms and paper-thin skin. In the finished film, McKinless' face was replaced with that of David Thewlis using special effects. Thewlis received the credit as Ares. 2022 The scene also shows a Green Lantern, named Yelan Gur, created through motion capture CGI and embodied by an uncredited actor. 23 Two ancient leaders of Earth appear during the scene, including King Atlan of Atlantis and King Arthur Pendragon of ancient England, portrayed by Julian Lewis-Jones and Francis McGee, respectively. 24-25 Billy Crudup appears, uncredited, as Henry Allen, Barry Allen's father. Joe Manganiello and Jesse Eisenberg appear uncredited in a post-credits scene as Slade Wilson/Deathstroke and Lex Luthor, respectively. 26 Michael McElhatton appears as the leader of a group of terrorists who clash with Wonder Woman early in the film. 27 While Holt McCallany makes an uncredited appearance as a burglar. 28 Mark McClure, who portrayed Jimmy Olsen in the Christopher Reeve Superman film series, has a brief cameo as a police officer. 29. Willem Dafoe and Kiersey Clemens filmed scenes as Nuitis Foucault and Iris West, although their roles were cut from the final film. 30-31 A scene depicting Green Lantern's Kilowog and Tomar revisiting Batman was filmed as an additional post-credits scene, further teasing the upcoming Green Lantern Corps, but the scene was later scrapped. 32 other scenes that were filmed, but cut from the theatrical film, include Ryan Zheng as Ryan Choi, setting up the character's future as the Atom. 33 A fight between Ares and Darkseid, with the villain portrayed by Ray Porter. 34 Harry Lennox reprising his role from Man of Steel and Batman v Superman as Calvin Swanwick, in a scene where it would have been revealed that his character is actually Jayon/Martian Manhunter. 35 And scenes featuring Darkseid's servant Desaad, with the character voiced by Peter Guinness. 36 These characters were included in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Production. Main article, Production of Justice League, film. Background. We're going to make a Justice League movie, whether it's now or 10 years from now. But we're not going to do it, and Warner's is not going to do it until we know it's right. Producer Gregory Novak, on whether Warner Brothers is going to do a Justice League film, 2008. 37. In February 2007, it was announced that Warner Brothers Pictures had hired husband and wife duo Michelle and Kieran Mulroney to write a script for a Justice League film. 38. The news came around the same time that Joss Whedon's long-developed Wonder Woman film was cancelled. 39. As well as The Flash, written and directed by David S. Goyer. 40. Reportedly titled Justice League, Mortal. 41. The script by Michelle and Kieran Mulroney was submitted to Warner Brothers in June 2007, receiving positive feedback. 42. Which prompted the studio to immediately fast-track production in the hope of beginning filming before the 2007-08 Writers Guild of America strike. 43. Warner Brothers was less willing to proceed with development of a sequel to Superman Returns, 2006, having been disappointed with its box office. Brandon Routh was not approached to reprise the role of Superman in Justice League, Mortal. 44. Nor was Christian Bale from Batman Begins, 2005. 45. Warner Brothers intended for Justice League, Mortal to be the start of a new film franchise, and to branch out into separate sequels and spin-offs. 46 Shortly after filming The Dark Knight, 2008, 47 Bale stated in an interview that it'd be better if it doesn't tread on the toes of what our Batman series is doing, and felt it would make more sense for Warner Brothers to release the film after The Dark Knight Rises, 2012. 45 Jason Reitman was the original choice to direct Justice League, but he turned it down, as he considers himself an independent filmmaker and prefers to stay out of big-budget superhero films. 48 George Miller signed to direct in September 2007. 43 with Barry Osborne producing. 49 on a projected $220 million budget. 50. The following month, roughly 40 actors and actresses auditioned for the ensemble superhero roles, among them Joseph Cross, Michael Angarano, Max Thieriot, Minka Kelly, Adrienne Palicki, and Scott Porter. Miller had intended to cast younger actors, as he wanted them to grow into their roles over the course of several films. 47 DJ Cotrana was cast as Superman. 46 along with Armie Hammer as Batman. 51 Jessica Biel reportedly declined to play Wonder Woman role after negotiations. 52 The character was also linked to actresses Teresa Palmer and Shannon Sossamon, along with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who confirmed that she had auditioned. 53 Ultimately, Megan Gale was cast as Wonder Woman. 54 While Palmer was cast as Talia al Ghul, whom Miller had in mind to act with a Russian accent. 55 The script for Justice League, Mortal would have featured Jon Stewart as Green Lantern, a role originally offered to Columbus Short. 56 Hip-hop recording artist and rapper Common was cast. 57 with Adam Brody as Barry Allen / Flash. 58 and Jay Baruchel as the lead villain, Maxwell Lord. 59 Longtime Miller collaborator Hugh Keays-Byrne had been cast in an unnamed role, rumored to be Martian Manhunter. Santiago Cabrera was eventually revealed to be Aquaman after the film was cancelled. 60 Merritt Allen was hired as the original costume designer before her untimely death in November 2007. 61 and the responsibilities were assumed by Weta Workshop. 62. However, the writers' strike began that same month and placed the film on hold. Warner Brothers had to let the options lapse for the cast. 63 But development was fast-tracked once more in February 2008 when the strike ended. Warner Brothers and Miller wanted to start filming immediately. 64 But production was pushed back 3 months. 46 Originally, the majority of Justice League, Mortal was to be shot at Fox Studios Australia in Sydney. 50 with other locations scouted nearby at local colleges. 49 and Sydney heads doubling for Happy Harbour. 41 The Australian Film Commission had a say with casting choices, giving way for George Miller to cast Gale, Palmer, and Keays-Byrne, all Australian natives. The production crew was composed entirely of Australians, but the Australian government denied Warner Brothers a 40% tax rebate as they felt they had not hired enough Australian actors. 50-65 Miller was frustrated, stating that a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the Australian film industry is being frittered away because of very lazy thinking. They're throwing away hundreds of millions of dollars of investment that the rest of the world is competing for and, much more significantly, highly skilled creative jobs. 66. Production offices were then moved to Vancouver Film Studios in Canada. Filming was pushed back to July 2008, while Warner Brothers was still confident they could produce the film for a summer 2009 release. 67-68. Zack Snyder, the director of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Justice League. With production delays continuing, and the success of The Dark Knight in July 2008. 69 Warner Brothers decided to focus on the development of individual films featuring the main heroes, allowing director Christopher Nolan to separately complete his The Dark Knight trilogy with The Dark Knight Rises in 2012. Warner Brothers relaunched development for a solo Green Lantern film, released in 2011 as a critical and financial disappointment. Meanwhile, film adaptations for The Flash and Wonder Woman continued to languish in development, while filming for a Superman reboot commenced in 2011 with Man of Steel, 2013, produced by Nolan and written by Batman screenwriter David S. Goyer. In October 2012, following its legal victory over Joe Shuster's estate for the rights to Superman, Warner Bros. Announced that it planned to move ahead with the Justice League film. Shortly after filming on Man of Steel was complete, Warner Bros. Hired Will Beall to write the script for a new Justice League film. 71 Warner Bros. President Jeff Robinov explained that Man of Steel would be setting the tone for what the movies are going to be like going forward. In that, it's definitely a first step. 72. The film included references to the existence of other superheroes in the DC Universe. 73 and set the tone for a shared fictional universe of DC Comics characters on film. 74 Goyer stated that should Green Lantern appear in a future installment, it would be a rebooted version of the character, unconnected to the 2011 film. 75. With the release of Man of Steel in June 2013, Goyer was hired to write a sequel, as well as a new Justice League, with the Beall draft being scrapped. 76 The sequel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, 2016, not only had a new Batman sharing the same universe as Superman but helped set up the Justice League film by introducing other superpowered DC heroes through in-universe footage, cameos and teasing an impending doom through cryptic and ominous dreams and warnings. Though the universe of Man of Steel was separate from that of Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, he was still involved as an executive producer on both Batman v Superman and the Justice League film. 77 In April 2014, it was announced that Man of Steel and Batman v Superman director Zack Snyder would also direct Goyer's Justice League script. 78 Warner Bros. Was reportedly courting Chris Terrio to rewrite Justice League the following July, after having been impressed with his rewrite of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. 79 On October 15, 2014, Warner Bros. Announced the film would be released in two parts, with Part 1 being released on November 17, 2017, and Part 2 on June 14, 2019. Snyder was set to direct both films. 80 In early July 2015, EU revealed that the script for Justice League Part 1 had been completed by Terrio. 81 Zack Snyder stated that the film would be inspired by the New Gods comic series by Jack Kirby. 82 Although Justice League was initially announced as a two-part film, with the second part set for release 2 years after the first, Snyder stated in June 2016 that they would be two distinct, separate films and not one film split into two parts, both being standalone stories. 83-84. Filming. Principal photography began on April 11, 2016, with shooting taking place at Warner Bros. Studios, Leavesden, as well as various locations around London and Scotland. Additional filming took place in Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, and Djupavik, in the West Fjords 85 of Iceland. 86-87 Snyder's longtime cinematographer Larry Fong was replaced by Fabian Wagner due to scheduling conflicts. 87 Ben Affleck served as executive producer. 88 In May 2016, it was revealed that Jeff Johns and John Burt would produce the Justice League films, and would also be in charge of the DC Extended Universe, DCEU, after the largely negative critical reception of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. 89 The same month, Iron stated that the Justice League storyline would be more linear and simple, compared to the theatrical version of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. 90 Johns confirmed on June 3, 2016, that the title of the film is Justice League 91 and later stated that the film would be hopeful and optimistic in comparison to previous DCEU films. 92. Justice League had a troubled production. During filming, it was reported that the rewrites by Jeff Johns caused issues with Chris Terrio and Warner Bros. Executives. Warner Bros. Was unsatisfied with how the film was shaping up under Snyder due to the negative feedback that the theatrical version of Batman v Superman received. It was reported that Warner Brothers held a footage summit for writers that include Whedon, Wonder Woman screenwriter Alan Heinberg, Seth Grahame-Smith, and Andrea Berloff. This caused numerous rewrites as Justice League was filming. 93, 94, 95 filming wrapped in October 2016. 96, 97, 98. Post-production. Joss Whedon took over the post-production of Justice League after Snyder stepped down. In May 2017, Snyder stepped down from directorial duties on Justice League to cope with his daughter Autumn's suicide, and Whedon assumed his position to oversee post-production and complete the film. 99 That July, it was announced the film was undergoing 2 months of reshoots in London and Los Angeles, with Warner Brothers putting about $25 million into them, more than the typical $6 to $10 million additional filming costs 100, which brought the budget of the film up to $300 million. 7 The reshoots coincided with Cavill's schedule for Paramount Pictures' Mission Impossible, Fallout, 2018, for which he had grown a mustache, which became a source of conflict for Justice League. Director Christopher McQuarrie, unwilling to let Cavill shave unless compensated, requested $3 million from the Justice League production to cover the costs of digitally re-adding Cavill's facial hair back for Fallout until it regrew. Paramount executives eventually intervened and refused permission altogether, necessitating the mustache to be digitally removed for Justice League. 101. Whedon received a screenwriting credit on the film alongside Chris Terrio. 102 While Snyder received sole director's credit. One producer, Charles Roven, said in an interview that the film was shot originally by 80 to 85%. 103 Conversely, Snyder estimates that only a fourth of his material was used in the theatrical version based on what he has been told of the theatrical cut, as he has not watched it. 2 Cinematographer Fabian Wagner estimates that only 10% of the original footage shot by him and Snyder was used in the final cut. 104 Whedon's rewrites were around 80 pages, further confirming that the theatrical cut was mostly his work. 105. Warner Brothers. CEO Kevin Tsujihara mandated the film to be under 2 hours. 7 106 107 In consequence, the final cut runs for that exact time. 108 The company also did not opt to delay the film's release despite the fact that there had been numerous problems in post-production, so that the executives would receive their cash bonuses before the company's merger with AT&T. 109 110 In February 2018, it was reported that Snyder was fired from directorial duties from Justice League, after his cut was deemed unwatchable according to Collider's Matt Goldberg. I'd heard similar things from separate sources over the last year as well. I also heard that Snyder's rough cut of the movie was unwatchable, a word that jumped out at me because it's rare you hear 2 separate sources use exactly the same adjective. Of course, even if that's true, there's obviously more to the story since rough cuts can be fixed up with reshoots, rewrites, etc., Goldberg wrote. 111 112 According to DC Comics publisher, comic book artist Jim Lee, Snyder was not fired. Speaking at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, Lee stated that Snyder was not fired at all and that he stepped down from the production due to a family matter, as far as he knew. 113 In July 2020, Ray Fisher claimed that Whedon's on-set treatment of the film's cast and crew was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. 114 Following Fisher's statements, Whedon's conduct on earlier productions came under renewed scrutiny. Several actors associated with Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, most notably Charisma Carpenter, publicly alleged comparable behavior. 115 In May 2021, Gadot claimed that Whedon threatened to harm her career for refusing to record lines that she didn't want to say in the film. 116 Whedon, however, denied the allegations by Gadot, stating that it was miscommunication as she is not a native English speaker. 117 Justice League and Batman v Superman writer Chris Terrio called the theatrical cut an act of vandalism, and attempted unsuccessfully to get his name removed from the film. 118. Music. Main article, Justice League, soundtrack. In March 2016, Hans Zimmer, who co-composed the score for Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, stated that he had officially retired from the superhero business, 119, though he would later score X-Men, Dark Phoenix, 2019, and Wonder Woman 1984, 2020. Junkie XL, who wrote and composed the soundtrack of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice with Zimmer, was originally scoring the film 120 but was replaced by Danny Elfman the following year in June. 121. Elfman had previously composed scores for the films Batman, 1989, and Batman Returns, 1992, and the theme music for Batman, the animated series, and the 1990 TV series, The Flash. Elfman used the Batman theme music from the 1989 film. John Williams's Superman March was used during a dark, twisted moment in the film 122-123, where a resurrected Superman fights the Justice League, and later during the climax where Superman arrives to defeat Steppenwolf. The film features a cover of Leonard Cohen's Everybody Knows performed by Sigrid, Icky Thump performed by the White Stripes, and a cover of the Beatles' Come Together performed by Gary Clark Jr. and Junkie XL. 124. Watercolor Music released the soundtrack album digitally on November 10 the same year, with the release of the physical format on December 8. 125. Marketing. Superman was intentionally left out on all early Justice League marketing materials, including trailers, clips, and posters, which actor Cavill commented as ridiculous. Despite his character being hidden from promotional materials, Cavill still joined the rest of the cast on the film's press tour. 126. 127. Clark Kent was revealed in a final trailer before the release of the film, but edited in a way that writers felt Lois Lane was dreaming about Clark. 128. 129. Sponsorship and marketing partners of the film included AT&T 130, Gillette 131, Mercedes-Benz 132, and TCL. 133. Release. Theatrical. Justice League had its world premiere at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, on November 13, 2017 134, and was released in the United States on November 17, 2017. 80. Home media. The film was released on digital download on February 13, 2018, and was released on Blu-ray disc, Blu-ray 3D, 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, and DVD on March 13, 2018, in various international markets. 135. The Blu-ray features 2 deleted scenes titled Return of Superman. 136. It is also notable for having no director commentary from either Snyder or Whedon. 137. As of August 20, 2021, it has made $30.4 million in DVD sales and $41.5 million in Blu-ray sales, totaling an estimated $71.9 million in domestic video sales according to the numbers. 138. Reception. Box office. Justice League grossed $229 million in the United States and Canada and $432.3 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $661.3 million. 139. It had a worldwide opening of $278.8 million. 141 up against an estimated break-even point of as much as $750 million. 142. Deadline. Hollywood reported that the film lost the studio around $60 million. 143. Due to the film losing the studio money, the movie was deemed a box office bomb or flop. 144. In the United States and Canada, industry tracking initially forecast the film debuting to $110 to $120 million from 4,051 theaters, including 400 IMAX screens. 145. It made $13 million from Thursday night previews, up from the $11 million made by Wonder Woman the previous June. 146, however, after making $38.5 million on its first day, including Thursday previews, weekend projections were lowered to $95 million. It ended up debuting to $93.8 million, down 45% from Batman v Superman's opening of $166 million, and being the first film of the DCEU to open under $100 million. Deadline attributed the low figure to lukewarm audience reaction to the film and most of its predecessors, as well as poor critical reception, and film review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes not posting their aggregated score until the day before release, causing speculation and doubt from filmgoers. 147 in its second weekend, the film dropped 56% to $41.1 million, finishing second at the box office, behind newcomer Coco. 148 It was the second best second weekend hold of the DCEU, behind Wonder Woman's 43%, but the lowest overall gross. 149 in its third week it again finished second behind Coco, grossing $16.7 million. 150 it made $9.7 million in its fourth week and $4.3 million in its fifth, finishing a respective second and fifth at the box office. 151 152 in 2018, Forbes compared the drastic incohesive shift from Snyder's darker films Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice to the lighter Justice League, co-written by Whedon, to the similarly drastic and incohesive change in tone experienced from the older 1989 and 1992 Tim Burton's Batman films to the direct light-hearted sequels directed by Schumacher, although noting the former shift in tone was better received than the one in Justice League, affecting box office, due to going against the expectations of Snyder fans in its attempt to reach a higher demographic, while alienating its own established core audience. 153. In other territories, the film was projected to debut to $215 to $235 million for a worldwide opening of $325 to $355 million. 154 It made $8.5 million on its first day from 9 countries, including South Korea, France, and Brazil. 146 It ended up having a $185 million international debut from 65 countries, including $57.1 million from China, $9.8 million from the United Kingdom, $9.6 million from Mexico, and $8.8 million from South Korea. The film broke a record in the Philippines with a debut of $1.12 million, PHP 57.3 M, making it the biggest industry opening day for a film in 2017 and eventually becoming the 7th most successful film of all time. 155 In Brazil, the film opened to $14.2 million, the biggest opening in the country's history. 140 Outside North America, the film's largest markets were China, $106 million, Brazil, $41 million, Mexico, $24.8 million, and United Kingdom, $24 million. 156. Critical response. The performances of Gal Gadot, left, and Ezra Miller, right, were praised. 157 158 159. Justice League received mixed to negative reviews, with praise for the cast and the direction, but it was compared unfavorably to Marvel and received criticism for the character of Steppenwolf. 160 158 159 161 On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 39% of 411 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 5.3/10. The website's consensus reads, Justice League leaps over a number of DC movies, but its single bound isn't enough to shed the murky aesthetic, thin characters, and chaotic action that continue to dog the franchise. 162. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 45 out of 100, based on 52 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 163 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B+ on an A+ to F scale, and those by PostTrack gave the film an 85% overall positive score, average 4 out of 5 stars, and a 69% definite recommend. 147. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3.5 out of 4 stars, praising the cast, especially Gadot, and saying it's a putting the band together origins movie, executed with great fun and energy. 164. Owen Gleiberman of Variety gave the film a positive review, which conceived the film and described it was not messy or bombastic, and light, clean, and simple. 4. Bilge Eberai of The Village Voice similarly gave it a positive review, and said the action scenes of the film went start and stop and then start again, and then go in different directions. Eberai also describes the film had a few moments into the big climactic face-off, but the rhythms actually lend the film a pleasant unpredictability. 165. Writing for Rolling Stone, Peter Travers gave the film 2.5 out of 4 stars, praising the cast but criticizing the action sequences and writing, saying, "The scenes of the League members together, bickering and bonding, spike the film with humor and genuine feeling, creating a rooting interest in the audience. Without it, the film would crumble." 166. Conversely, Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter, while praising Gadot and Miller, called the film visually ugly and boring, saying, "Fatigue, repetition and a laborious approach to exposition are the keynotes of this affair, which is also notable for how Ben Affleck, donning the Batsuit for the second time, looks like he'd rather be almost anywhere else but here." 157. Writing for The Washington Post, Alyssa Rosenberg also returned with a negative review, and described the film was a symbol of just how entrenched superhero movies have become in the Hollywood ecosystem. It's also a potent illustration that success hasn't necessarily artistically elevated the genre. Rosenberg felt the film was nearly identical to lots of superhero films that have come before, and featured some of the ugliest, most pointless special effects. 167. James Berardinelli gave it 2 out of 4 stars, said that the film and DC films came late to the party, as Marvel Studios planned their cinematic universe, which they were sometimes criticized for overthinking and overplanning, and compared to The Avengers, 2012, which has its formula worked, and The Avengers was a popcorn bliss and a superhero nirvana. 168. Writing for the film Ireland magazine, Ellen Murray found the characters interesting, but their setting unworthy, said that there is something undeniably thrilling in seeing these iconic characters work together on the big screen. 169. Wonder Woman, 2017, director Patty Jenkins particularly disliked Justice League because the film itself seemed to contradict her film, as both she and Zack Snyder worked together to keep continuity between their films, in details like not changing Wonder Woman's costume, but Joss Whedon reshot the film to the point the characters were not being portrayed as previously shown in past films. 170. Accolades. Justice League received each nomination at 2 Golden Trailer Awards ceremonies, Best Action Poster, 2017, and Best Wild Posts, Teaser Campaign, 2018. 171, 172, 173, 174. Ezra Miller was nominated for Best Comedic Performance at the San Diego Film Critics Society Awards 2017. 175, 176 at the 2018 Kids' Choice Awards. The film was nominated for Favorite Movie Actor, Affleck, and Favorite Movie Actress, Gadot. 177. Justice League garnered nominations for Choice Action Movie, Choice Action Movie Actor, Cavill, and Choice Action Movie Actress, Adams and Gadot, at the 2018 Teen Choice Awards. 178. Director's Cut. Main article, Zack Snyder's Justice League. The divisive reaction towards the theatrical cut of the film, with Zack Snyder leaving directorial duties and the final cut of the film in the hands of Joss Whedon, has led to an argument comparing the situation to the one experienced by the film Superman 2, 1980. Both Justice League and Superman 2 feature a director who was replaced, for different reasons, before completion of a film, which led to a second director coming in and making substantial changes to the tone of each film. Although the reasoning behind each director's departure differs, Richard Donner was able to complete his Superman 2 cut in 2006. In the belief that Snyder had shot enough material for a finished film, a campaign for a Snyder cut was started to allow Snyder to receive a similar treatment to that given to Donner. Arguments were made that Snyder's vision would be more cohesive to the previous films than the actual theatrical cut, which Snyder has refused to see. Warner Brothers initially remained silent regarding any intention of making a Snyder cut. 179. In March 2019, Snyder confirmed his original cut existed, and stated that it was up to Warner Brothers to release it. 180. In November, an insider claimed that Warner Brothers was unlikely to release Snyder's version of Justice League in theaters, calling it a pipe dream. 181. In December, Snyder posted a photo in his Vero account, which showed boxes with tapes labeled ZSJ.L Director's Cut, and with the caption "Is it real? Does it exist?" Of course it does. 182. Snyder officially confirmed in May 2020 that his cut of Justice League will be released for HBO Max service in 2021. 183. The cut cost $70+ million to complete the special effects, musical score, and editing. 184. 185. Some of the film's original cast, including Affleck, Fisher, and Miller, remotely returned to help complete the project. 186. Which also included limited additional filming. Jared Leto, Amy Adams, and J.K. Simmons appeared in the cut as the Joker, Lois Lane, and James Gordon, respectively. 187. As a result of the new cut, the original theatrical cut is referred to by fans as the Whedon cut. 188. Or Justice League, 189, referring to the film's replacement director Joss Whedon. 190. Despite being far better received than the theatrical version, Snyder stated that his cut would not be made canon to the DCEU, with Warner Brothers still considering the 2017 cut to be the official version. 191. Future. A sequel was originally scheduled to be released in June 2019 but was subsequently delayed to accommodate the release for The Batman, 2022. 192. By March 2017, producer Charles Roven said that Zack Snyder would direct the film. 193. And in October, J.K. Simmons stated that the studio was working on the script of the sequel, alongside The Batman. 194. Shortly after the release of Justice League, Henry Cavill said that he was under contract with Warner Brothers to play Superman for one more film. 195. In December, it was revealed that there were no immediate plans for Zack Snyder to direct any future DC films, being relegated to an executive producer position instead. This came after a reshuffling of film production staff at Warner Brothers due to the film's mixed critical reception and disappointing financial performance. 196. By 2019, Warner Brothers had prioritized solo films over the project. In 2019, after previously declining an offer to direct the first film 197, Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins noted she was open to directing a Justice League sequel. 198. 199. 200. Though Snyder's cut of Justice League has been described by DC Films executives as a storytelling cul-de-sac with no sequels planned. 201. 202. Snyder stated that he would be willing to return to direct the sequels if the studio offered him the chance. 203. In January 2021, Ray Fisher, who had a fallout with Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns, John Berg, and former DC Films president Walter Hamada, stated that he would only be willing to reprise his role as Cyborg in a future DCEU film if Justice League Part 2 were to be made by Snyder. 204. However, Shortly after the Snyder Cut was released, Warner Bros. CEO Ann Sarnoff said in March that there were no current plans in place for Snyder to return as a director/writer for future DCEU films, suggesting a direct sequel to his version of Justice League remained unlikely. 205 later in August, DC Films producer Charles Roven stated that a Justice League sequel was still possible, though it would be several years away. 206 a sequel was once again under consideration while DeLuca and Abdi were in charge of DC Films, later renamed DC Studios, before James Gunn and Peter Safran took over in 2022. 207 in October 2023, Variety reported that no actors from Zack Snyder's DCEU films would reprise their roles in the DC Universe, DCU. 208. In a July 2025 Wall Street Journal article, it was reported that Gunn and Safran eventually planned to make a new Justice. Benjamin Gaza Affleck, born August 15, 1972, is an American actor and filmmaker. His accolades include 2 Academy Awards, 2 BAFTA Awards, and 3 Golden Globes. Affleck began his career as a child when he starred in the PBS educational series The Voyage of the Mimi, 1984 to 1988. He later appeared in the independent comedy Dazed and Confused, 1993, and several Kevin Smith comedies, including Chasing Amy, 1997. Affleck gained wider recognition when he and Matt Damon won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay for writing Good Will Hunting, 1997, which they also starred in. He established himself as a leading man in studio films, including the disaster film Armageddon, 1998, the action crime thriller Reindeer Games, 2000, the war drama Pearl Harbor, 2001, and the thriller The Sum of All Fears, 2002. After a career downturn, Affleck made a comeback by portraying George Reeves in the biopic Hollywoodland, 2006, winning the Volpe Cup for Best Actor. His directorial debut, Gone Baby Gone, 2007, which he also co-wrote, was well received. He then directed and starred in the crime drama The Town, 2010, and the political thriller Argo, 2012, both of which were critical and commercial successes. For the latter, Affleck won the BAFTA Award for Best Director, and the BAFTA and Academy Award for Best Picture. Affleck then starred in the psychological thriller Gone Girl, 2014, and played the superhero Batman in the DC Extended Universe, 2016 to 2023. He starred in the thriller The Accountant, 2016, and the sports drama The Way Back, 2020. Affleck had supporting roles in the dramas The Last Duel, 2021, The Tender Bar, 2021, and Air, 2023, the third of which he also directed. Affleck is the co-founder of the Eastern Congo Initiative, a grant-making and advocacy-based non-profit organization. He is a supporter of the Democratic Party. Affleck and Damon are co-owners of the production company Artists Equity and were also co-owners of Pearl Street Films. Early life. Affleck was born Benjamin Gaza Affleck Bolt on August 15, 1972, in Berkeley, California. 2-3 His family moved to Massachusetts when he was 3-4, living in Falmouth, where his brother Casey was born, before settling in Cambridge. 5 His mother, Christopher and Chris Bolt 6 was a Harvard-educated elementary school teacher. 7-8 His father, Timothy Byers Affleck 9 was an aspiring playwright 9 who was mostly unemployed. 10 He worked sporadically as a carpenter 11 auto mechanic 4 bookie 12 electrician 13 bartender 14 and janitor at Harvard. 15 In the mid-1960s, he had been an actor and stage manager with the Theatre Company of Boston. 16. During Affleck's childhood, his father had a self-described severe, chronic problem with alcoholism. 17 And Affleck has recalled him drinking all day, every day. 18 His father was very difficult. 19 And Affleck felt a sense of relief at the age of 11 when his parents divorced. 2021 And his father exited the family home. 17 9 His father continued to drink heavily. 7 And eventually became homeless. spending 2 years living on the streets of Cambridge. 1222 When Affleck was 16, his father entered a rehabilitation facility in Indio, California. He lived at the facility for 12 years to maintain his sobriety. 23 and worked there as an addiction counselor. 724. Affleck was raised in a politically active, liberal household. 1225 He and his brother, Casey, were surrounded by people who worked in the arts. 26 The boys regularly attended theater performances with their mother. 27 And were encouraged to make their own home movies. 28 David Wheeler, a family friend, later remembered Affleck as a very bright and intensely curious child. 29 The brothers auditioned for roles in local commercials and film productions because of their mother's friendship with a Cambridge area casting director. 14 And Affleck first acted professionally at the age of 7. 29 His mother saved his wages in a college trust fund. 9 And hoped her son would ultimately become a teacher, worrying that acting was an insecure and frivolous profession. 30 When Affleck was 13, he filmed a children's television program in Mexico. He learned to speak Spanish during a year spent traveling around the country with his mother and brother. 31-32. As a Cambridge Rindge and Latin high school student, Affleck acted in theater productions and was inspired by drama teacher Gary Specca. 33-34 He became close friends with fellow student Matt Damon, whom he had known since the age of 8. 35 Although Damon was 2 years older, the pair had identical interests and both wanted to pursue acting careers. 35 They traveled to New York together for acting auditions. 36 And saved money for train and airline tickets in a joint bank account. 37 While Affleck had high SAT scores 9, he was largely an unfocused student with poor attendance. 738 He spent a few months studying Spanish at the University of Vermont, chosen because of its proximity to his then girlfriend. 13 But he left after fracturing his hip while playing basketball. 36 At 18, Affleck moved to Los Angeles. 30 Studying Middle Eastern affairs at Occidental College for a year and a half. 39-40. Career. 1981 to 1997, child acting and Good Will Hunting. Affleck acted professionally throughout his childhood but, in his own words, not in the sense that I had a mom that wanted to take me to Hollywood or a family that wanted to make money from me. I kind of chanced into something. 41. He first appeared, at the age of 7, in an independent film, The Dark End of the Street, 1981, directed by a family friend. 42 His biggest success as a child actor was as the star of the PBS children's series The Voyage of the Mimi, 1984, and The Second Voyage of the Mimi, 1988, produced for 6th grade science classes. Affleck worked sporadically on Mimi from the age of 8 to 15 in both Massachusetts and Mexico. 41 As a teenager, he appeared in the ABC after-school special Wanted, A Perfect Man, 1986, 43 The television film Hands of a Stranger, 1987, 41 and a 1989 Burger King commercial. 34. After high school, Affleck moved briefly to New York in search of acting work. 41 Later, while studying at Occidental College in Los Angeles, Affleck directed student films. 1244 As an actor, he had a series of knockaround parts, one to the next. 41 He played Patrick Duffy's son in the television film Daddy, 1991, made an uncredited appearance as a basketball player in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer film, 1992, and had a supporting role as a prep school student in School Ties, 1992. 45 He played a high school quarterback in the NBC television series Against the Grain, 1993, and a steroid-abusing high school football player in Body to Die For, The Aaron Henry Story, 1994. Affleck's most notable role during this period was as a high school bully in Richard Linklater's cult classic Dazed and Confused, 1993. 46 Linklater wanted a likable actor for the villainous role, and, while Affleck was big and imposing, he was so smart and full of life. I just liked him. 47-48. Affleck later said Linklater was instrumental in demystifying the filmmaking process for him. 12. Affleck's first starring film role was as an aimless art student in the college drama Glory Days, 1995, with Stephen Holden of the New York Times remarking that his affably mopey performance finds just the right balance between obnoxious and sad sack. 49. He then played a bully in filmmaker Kevin Smith's comedy Mallrats, 1995, and became friends with Smith during the filming. Affleck had begun to worry that he would be relegated to a career of throwing people into their lockers, 41, but Smith wrote him a lead role in the romantic comedy Chasing Amy, 1997. 441. The film was Affleck's breakthrough. 41. Janet Maslin of the New York Times praised Affleck's wonderful ease playing the role, combining suave good looks with cool comic timing. 50. Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly described it as a wholesome and quick-witted performance. 51. When Affleck starred as a recently returned Korean War veteran in the coming-of-age drama Going All the Way, 1997, Todd McCarthy of Variety found him excellent. 52. While Janet Maslin of the New York Times noted that his flair for comic self-doubt made a strong impression. 53. Bill Clinton, Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon sit on two sofas while looking towards a television screen. Affleck and Matt Damon attend a Camp David screening of Good Will Hunting with President Bill Clinton in January 1998. The success of 1997's Good Will Hunting, which Affleck co-wrote and acted in, marked a turning point in his career. The screenplay originated in 1992 when Damon wrote a 40-page script for a playwriting class at Harvard University. 54. He asked Affleck to act out the scenes with him in front of the class, and, when Damon later moved into Affleck's Los Angeles apartment, they began working on the script in earnest. 35. The film, which they wrote mainly during improvisation sessions, was set partly in their hometown of Cambridge and drew from their own experiences. 54. 55. The screenplay was born of their desire to create an acting reel for themselves. 56. They sold the screenplay to Castle Rock in 1994 when Affleck was 22 years old. During the development process, they received notes from industry figures, including Rob Reiner and William Goldman. 57. Following a lengthy dispute with Castle Rock about a suitable director, Affleck and Damon persuaded Miramax to purchase the screenplay. 11. The two friends moved back to Boston for a year before the film finally went into production, directed by Gus Van Sant, and co-starring Damon, Affleck, Minnie Driver, and Robin Williams. 54. On its release, Janet Maslin of the New York Times praised the smart and touching screenplay, 58, while Emmanuel Levy of Variety found it funny, nonchalant, moving and angry. 59. Jay Carr of the Boston Globe wrote that Affleck brought a beautifully nuanced tenderness to his role as the working-class friend of Damon's mathematical prodigy character. 60. Affleck and Damon eventually won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. 12. Affleck has described this period of his life as dreamlike. It was like one of those scenes in an old movie when a newspaper comes spinning out of the black onto the screen. You know, $100 million box office. Awards. 36. He remains the youngest writer, at age 25, ever to win an Oscar for screenwriting. 54. 61. 1998 to 2002, leading man status. Ben Affleck, Michael Bay, and Liv Tyler posing on the red carpet. Affleck with Michael Bay and Liv Tyler at the Armageddon premiere in June 1998. Armageddon, released in 1998, established Affleck as a viable leading man for Hollywood studio films. Good Will Hunting had not yet been released during the casting process, and, after Affleck's screen test, director Michael Bay dismissed him as a geek. Producer Jerry Bruckheimer convinced Bay that Affleck would be a star 30, but he was required to lose weight, become tanned, and get his teeth capped before filming began. 62. The film, where he starred opposite Bruce Willis as a blue-collar driller tasked by NASA with stopping an asteroid from colliding with Earth, was a box office success. 63. Daphne Merkin of The New Yorker remarked, Affleck demonstrates a sexy Paul Newmanish charm and is clearly bound for stardom. 64. Later in 1998, Affleck had a supporting role as an arrogant English actor in the period romantic comedy Shakespeare in Love, starring his then-girlfriend Gwyneth Paltrow. Lael Lowenstein of Variety remarked that Affleck does some of his very best work, suggesting that comedy may be his true calling. 65 While Janet Maslin of the New York Times found him very funny. 66 Shakespeare in Love won 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, while the cast won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast. Affleck then appeared as a small-town sheriff in the supernatural horror film Phantoms. 41 Stephen Holden of the New York Times wondered why actors like Affleck and Peter O'Toole had agreed to appear in the junkie film. Affleck's stunning performance suggests he is reading his dialogue for the first time, directly from cue cards. 67. Affleck and Damon had an on-screen reunion in Kevin Smith's religious satire Dogma, which premiered at the 1999 Cannes Film Festival. Janet Maslin of the New York Times remarked that the pair, playing fallen angels, bring great, understandable enthusiasm to Mr. Smith's smart talk and wild imaginings. 68 Affleck starred opposite Sandra Bullock in the romantic comedy Forces of Nature, 1999, playing a groom whose attempts to get to his wedding are complicated by his free-spirited traveling companion. Joe Layton of Variety praised his winning ability to play against his good looks in a self-effacing comic turn. 69 Affleck then appeared opposite Courtney Love in the Little Scene ensemble comedy 200 Cigarettes, 1999. 70. Interested in a directorial career, Affleck shadowed John Frankenheimer throughout pre-production of the action thriller Reindeer Games, 2000. 3071 Frankenheimer, directing his last feature film, described Affleck as having a very winning, likable quality about him. "I've been doing this for a long time and he's really one of the nicest." 72. He starred opposite Charlize Theron as a hardened criminal, with Elvis Mitchell of the New York Times enjoying the unexpected casting choice. Affleck often suggests one of the Kennedys playing Clark Kent. He looks as if he has never missed a party or a night's sleep. He's game, though, and his slight dislocation works to the advantage of Reindeer Games. 73. He then had a supporting role as a ruthless stockbroker in the crime drama Boiler Room, 2000. 71 A.O. Scott of the New York Times felt Affleck had merely traced over Alec Baldwin's performance in Glengarry Glen Ross. 74 While Peter Rayner of New York Magazine said he does a series of riffs on Baldwin's aria, and each one is funnier and crueler than the next. 75 He provided the voice of Joseph in the animated Joseph, King of Dreams. 76 In his last film role of 2000, Affleck starred opposite his girlfriend Paltrow in the romantic drama Bounce. Stephen Holden of the New York Times praised the understated intensity and exquisite detail of his performance. His portrait of a young, sarcastically self-defined people person who isn't half as confident as he would like to appear is close to definitive. 77. Affleck reunited with director Michael Bay for the critically derided war drama Pearl Harbor, 2001. 78 Todd McCarthy of Variety wrote the blandly handsome Affleck couldn't convince that he'd ever so much as been turned down for a date, much less lost the love of his life to his best friend. 79 Affleck then parroted Good Will Hunting with Damon and Van Sant in Kevin Smith's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, 2001. Comedy made a cameo in the comedy Daddy and Them, 2001. Comedy won and had a supporting role in The Little Scene The Third Wheel, 2002. 29 He portrayed the CIA analyst Jack Ryan in the thriller The Sum of All Fears, 2002. Stephen Holden of the New York Times felt he was miscast in a role previously played by both Harrison Ford and Alec Baldwin. Although Mr. Affleck can be appealing when playing earnest young men groping toward maturity, he simply lacks the gravitas for the role. 82. Affleck had an amazing experience making the thriller Changing Lanes, 2002, 41 and later cited Roger Mitchell as someone he learned from as a director. 7183 Robert Kohler of Variety described it as one of his most thoroughly wrought performances. The journey into a moral fog compels him to play more inwardly and thoughtfully than he ever has before. 84. Affleck became more involved with television and film production in the early 2000s. He and Damon had set up Pearl Street Films in 1998-85, named after the street that ran between their childhood homes. 86. Their next production company, Live Planet, co-founded in 2000 with Sean Bailey and Chris Moore, sought to integrate the internet into mainstream television and film production. 86-87. Live Planet's biggest success was the documentary series Project Greenlight, aired on HBO and later Bravo, which focused on first-time filmmakers being given the chance to direct a feature film. Project Greenlight was nominated for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Reality Program in 2002, 2004 and 2005. 88. Push, Nevada, 2002, created, written and produced by Affleck and Bailey. 89 was an ABC mystery drama series that placed a viewer participation game within the frame of the show. 90. Karen James of the New York Times praised the show's nerve, imagination, and clever writing. 91. But Robert Bianco of USA Today described it as a knockoff of Twin Peaks. 92. The show was cancelled by ABC after 7 episodes due to low ratings. 93. Over time, Live Planet's focus shifted from multimedia projects to more traditional film production. 87. Affleck and his partners signed a film production deal with Disney in 2002, it expired in 2007. 94-95. 2003 to 2005, career downturn and tabloid notoriety. While Affleck had been a tabloid figure for much of his career, 29, he was the subject of increased media attention in 2003 because of his relationship with Jennifer Lopez. By the end of the year, Affleck had become, in the words of GQ, the world's most overexposed actor. 96. His tabloid fame coincided with a series of poorly received films. Ben Affleck, with a trim goatee and mustache, is surrounded by hands reaching out to him. Affleck visiting U.S. Marines in Manama, Bahrain in 2003. The first of these was Daredevil, 2003, in which Affleck starred as the blind superhero. Affleck was a longtime comic book fan, and, in 1999, had written a foreword for Kevin Smith's Guardian Devil about his love for the character of Daredevil. 97. The film was a commercial success. 98. But received a mixed response from critics. Elvis Mitchell of the New York Times said Affleck was lost in the role. Affleck is shriveled by the one-dimensional role. Only his scenes with Jon Favreau have a playful side that allows Mr. Affleck to show his generosity as an actor. 99. In 2014, Affleck described Daredevil as the only film he regretted making. 12. He next appeared as a low-ranking mobster in the romantic comedy Giggly, 2003, co-starring Lopez. The film was almost uniformly panned 100-101, with Manala Dargis of the Los Angeles Times remarking that Affleck doesn't have the chops or the charm to maneuver around, or past, bad material. 102. Rex Reed of The Observer criticized the co-stars, writing that the film reminds the world how pathetically incompetent they both are in the only two things that matter in career longevity, craft and talent. 103. Yet Affleck has repeatedly defended director Martin Brest since the film's release, describing him as one of the really great directors. 71. 104. In his last film role of 2003, Affleck starred as a reverse engineer in the sci-fi thriller Paycheck, 2003. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian remarked on Affleck's self-deprecating charm and wondered why he could not find better scripts. 105. Manala Dargis of the Los Angeles Times found it almost unfair to critique Affleck, given that he had such a rough year. 106. Affleck's poor critical notices continued in 2004 when he starred as a bereaved husband in the romantic comedy Jersey Girl, directed by longtime collaborator Smith. Stephen Holden of the New York Times described Affleck as an actor whose talent has curdled as his tabloid notoriety has spread. 107. Later that year, he starred opposite James Gandolfini in the holiday comedy Surviving Christmas. Holden noted in the New York Times that the film found a clever way to use Ben Affleck's disagreeable qualities. The actor's shark-like grin, cocky petulance, and bullying frat boy swagger befit his character. 108. At this point, the quality of scripts offered to Affleck was just getting worse and worse. The negative press coverage really started to affect him. 109, and he decided to take a career break. 110. The Los Angeles Times published a piece on the downfall of Affleck's career in late 2004. The article noted that, unlike film critics and tabloid journalists, few industry professionals seem to be gloating over Affleck's travails. 111. 2006 to 2015, emergence as a director. Affleck began a career comeback in 2006 with his acclaimed performance as Superman actor George Reeves in the noir biopic Hollywoodland. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone praised an award-caliber performance. This is feeling, nuanced work from an actor some of us had prematurely written off. 112. Jeffrey McNabb of The Guardian said he beautifully captured the character's curious mix of charm, vulnerability, and fatalism. 113. He was awarded the Volpe Cup at the Venice Film Festival and was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor. 114. Also in 2006, he made a cameo in Smith's Clerks II. 115. Starred in the little scene Man About Town and had a minor role in the crime drama Smokin' Aces. 116. 117. In 2007, Affleck made his feature film directorial debut with Gone Baby Gone, a crime drama set in a working-class Boston neighborhood, starring his brother Casey as a private investigator searching for a young abductee. Affleck co-wrote the screenplay, based on the book by Dennis Lehane, with childhood friend Aaron Stockard, having first mentioned his intention to adapt the story in 2003. 118. 119. It opened to enthusiastic reviews. 120. Manala Dargis of the New York Times praised the film's sensitivity to real struggle. 121. While Stephen Farber of The Hollywood Reporter described it as thoughtful, deeply poignant, and splendidly executed. 122. While Affleck intended to keep a primary emphasis on directing going forward in his career. 123. He acted in 3 films in 2009. In the ensemble romantic comedy He's Just Not That Into You, the chemistry between Affleck and Jennifer Aniston was praised. 124. 125. Affleck played a congressman in the political thriller State of Play. Wesley Morris of the Boston Globe found him very good in the film's silliest role. 126. But David Adelstein of New York Magazine remarked of Affleck, "He might be smart and thoughtful in life, but as an actor his wheels turn too slowly." 127. He had a supporting role as a bartender in the little scene comedy film Extract. 128. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone described his performance as a goofball delight. 129. While Manala Dargis of the New York Times declared it a real performance. 130. In 2010, Affleck starred in The Company Men as a mid-level sales executive who was made redundant during the 2008 financial crisis. 131. David Denby of The New Yorker declared that Affleck gives his best performance yet. 132. While Richard Corliss of Time found he nails Bobby's plunge from hubris to humiliation. 133. Ben Affleck, wearing a tracksuit top, smiles. Affleck on the set of The Town in 2010. Following the modest commercial success of Gone Baby Gone, Warner Brothers developed a close working relationship with Affleck and offered him his choice of the studio's scripts. 7. He decided to direct the crime drama The Town, 2010, an adaptation of Chuck Hogan's novel Prince of Thieves. He also rewrote the screenplay and starred in the film as a bank robber. The film became a surprise box office hit, and gained further critical acclaim for Affleck. 134. 135. A.O. Scott of the New York Times praised his skill and self-confidence as a serious director. 136. While Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times noted, Affleck has the stuff of a real director. Everything is here. It's an effective thriller, he works closely with actors, he has a feel for pacing. 137. Also in 2010, Affleck and Damon's production company, Pearl Street Films, signed a first-look producing deal at Warner Bros. 138. Affleck soon began work on his next directorial project, Argo, 2012, for Warner Bros. Written by Chris Terrio and starring Affleck as a CIA operative, the film tells the story of the CIA plan to save 6 U.S. diplomats during the 1979 Iran hostage crisis by faking a production for a large-scale science fiction film. Anthony Lane of The New Yorker said the film offered further proof that we were wrong about Ben Affleck. 139 Peter Travers of Rolling Stone remarked, Affleck takes the next step in what looks like a major directing career. He directs the hell out of it, nailing the quickening pace, the wayward humor, the nerve-frying suspense. 140. A major critical and commercial success. 141 Argo won the Academy Award, Golden Globe Award, and BAFTA Award for Best Picture. 142 The cast won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast. Affleck himself won the Golden Globe Award, Directors Guild of America Award, and BAFTA Award for Best Director, becoming the first director to win these awards without a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Director. 143. The following year, Affleck played a romantic lead in Terrence Malick's experimental drama To the Wonder. Malick, a close friend of Affleck's godfather, first met Affleck in the 1990s to offer advice about the plot of Good Will Hunting. 144 Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian enjoyed a performance of dignity and sensitivity. 145 While The New Yorker's Richard Brody described Affleck as a solid and muscular performer who conveys a sense of thoughtful and willful individuality. 146 Affleck's performance as a poker boss was considered a highlight of the poorly reviewed thriller Runner Runner, 2013. 147 148 Betsy Sharkey of the Los Angeles Times remarked that it was one killer of a character, and Affleck plays him like a Bach concerto, every note perfectly played. 149. He then pushed back production on his own directorial project to star as a husband accused of murder in David Fincher's psychological thriller Gone Girl, 2014. 150 Fincher cast him partly because he understood what it felt like to be misrepresented by tabloid media. What many people don't know is that he's crazy smart, but since he doesn't want that to get awkward, he downplays it. I think he learned how to skate on charm. 151. David Adelstein of New York Magazine noted that Fincher's controlled style of directing had a remarkable effect on Affleck's acting. I never thought I'd write these words, but he carries the movie. He's terrific. 152. Justin Chang of Variety found Affleck perfectly cast. It's a tricky turn, requiring a measure of careful underplaying and emotional aloofness, and he nails it completely. 153. In 2015, Affleck and Damon's Project Greenlight was resurrected by HBO for one season. 154. 2016 to 2019, Batman and continued directing. Affleck at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con. Given Affleck's growing reputation as a filmmaker, his decision to star as Batman in the 2016 superhero film Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice was regarded by David Scoff of the New York Times as a somewhat bewildering choice. 155 Affleck reprised his role as Batman later that year, making a brief cameo appearance in Suicide Squad, 2016. 156 He starred as an autistic accountant in the action thriller The Accountant, 2016, which was an unexpected commercial success. 157 Peter DeBrugge of Variety felt Affleck's boy-next-door demeanor, so normal and non-actorly that most of his performances feel like watching one of your buddies up on screen, was a terrific fit for the role. 158 Stephen Holden of the New York Times wondered why Affleck, looking appropriately dead-eyed and miserable, committed himself to the film. 159. Live by Night, which Affleck wrote, directed, co-produced, and starred in, was released in late 2016. 160 adapted from Dennis Lehane's novel of the same name. The Prohibition-era gangster drama received largely unenthusiastic reviews and failed to recoup its $65 million production budget. 161 David Sims of The Atlantic described it as a fascinating mess of a movie and criticized Affleck's stiff, uncomfortable performance. He noted that one of the last action scenes is so wonderfully staged, its action crisp and easy to follow, that it reminds you what skill Affleck has with the camera. 162 In October 2016, Affleck and Damon made a one-off stage appearance for a live reading of the Good Will Hunting screenplay at New York's Skirball Theater. 163 The superhero film Justice League, in which Affleck returned as Batman, was released in 2017. 164 He later described it as a difficult on-set experience. 165 Zack Snyder stepped down during filming due to the death of his daughter. 166 The replacement director Joss Whedon's treatment of actors was the subject of complaints. 167 And Affleck himself was struggling with addiction issues. 168 The film drew mixed opinions from critics. Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter wrote that Affleck looks like he'd rather be almost anywhere else but here. 169 170 Amidst an alcoholism relapse, Affleck did not work in 2017. 171 He stepped down as director, writer and, ultimately, as the star of the Batman. 172 Saying he couldn't crack it. 173 And no longer felt passionate about the story. 174 175 Filming of the drug trafficking thriller Triple Frontier was postponed by 6 months in order to accommodate his treatment for health issues. 176 171 Upon Triple Frontier's release in 2019, Rodrigo Perez of The Playlist remarked that director J.C. Shander gets a lot of mileage out of the sad Affleck narrative, and perhaps both director and actor lean into the idea. 177 Later in 2019, Affleck made a cameo appearance in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, having had little contact with Kevin Smith since the making of Clerks 2 in 2006. 178 179 Affleck played a supporting role as a diplomat in Dee Rees's political thriller The Last Thing He Wanted, 2020. The Netflix movie, filmed in mid-2018, received negative reviews from critics. 181 with Tom Rees-Lafley of Variety describing Affleck's performance as oddly removed. 182 Affleck's starring role as a recovering alcoholic in the sports drama The Way Back, 2020, was widely praised. 183 The themes of the movie were close to home for Affleck. 184 He relapsed during pre-production in 2018. 184 And the movie was shot in the days after he left rehab. Affleck agreed to put his salary in escrow and was accompanied to set by a sober coach. 185 Richard Lawson of Vanity Fair said it was hard to avoid the movie's meta angle. Affleck handles his self-conscious task with a generous humility, giving a performance built not out of histrionics or big actor moments, but instead from the messy details of a man in a plateaued distress. 186 David Sims of The Atlantic praised the subtlety, vulnerability, and lumbering physicality of his performance, describing it as the rawest and most natural work of his career. 187 Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, cinemas closed in the second week of the movie's release, and Warner Brothers made it available to view on demand earlier than scheduled. 188 He received a Best Actor nomination at the 2021 Critics' Choice Awards. 189 Also in 2021, Snyder's director's cut of Justice League featured a newly filmed scene with Affleck. 190 2020, present, supporting roles and artists equity. Affleck had supporting roles in 2 2021 releases. 191 He played Peter II, Count of Alençon, a hedonistic aristocrat in Ridley Scott's medieval drama The Last Duel. He also co-wrote the movie's screenplay with Damon and Nicole Holofcener. 192-193 Bill Jeberai of New York Magazine was impressed by Affleck's imperious performance as the wonderfully skeezy Pierre, a marvelously out there creation who shouldn't work at all and yet becomes an engine of uneasy delights. 194. Brian Truitt of USA Today said he steals the movie. He seems to have written the most entertaining character in the movie for himself, but will allow it. 195. Later that year, Affleck appeared as a substitute father figure in George Clooney's coming-of-age drama The Tender Bar. 196. The film premiered at the London Film Festival, with Clooney remarking that he cast Affleck because he is very intelligent, and he can also come off as the big Goomba. 197. Pete Hammond of Deadline described it as a part he was born to play, writing that he beautifully and knowingly delivered an unforgettable portrait of the uncle you wish you had. 198. Kevin Marr of The Times said he played the role with extraordinary subtlety and depth. He dominates his every scene, with deftly delivered quips, comedy reaction shots or sheer hangdog charisma alone. 199. For the role, Affleck was nominated for the Golden Globe Award and Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Supporting Actor. 201. In 2022, Affleck and Ana de Armas starred in Adrian Lyne's thriller Deep Water, an adaptation of Patricia Highsmith's novel. 202. It was released on streaming service Hulu and received largely negative reviews. 203. Justin Chang of the Los Angeles Times said Affleck excels at playing the emasculated dreamboat, the golden boy gone to seed. 204. Adam Naiman of The Ringer said the film serves as an example of his formidable skill set within a very specific range. What used to seem like the callow cockiness of a handsome front-runner has hardened and deepened into a kind of grizzled charisma, the gravitas of a frat boy facing down his own expiration date. 205. He also made a cameo appearance in Smith's Clerks 3. 206. 207. Affleck's fifth directorial project, Air, about Nike's creation of the Air Jordan, premiered in 2023 and was well reviewed. 208. The movie starred Matt Damon and Viola Davis, with Affleck playing a supporting role as Phil Knight. 209. 210. 211. It marked the first release from Affleck and Damon's independent production company Artists Equity, which aims to share profits with all stakeholders. Affleck serves as the company's CEO and intends to work exclusively for Artists Equity as a filmmaker. 212. 213. In a review of Air for The Ringer, Adam Naiman wrote that Affleck, while not a masterful filmmaker, has a gift for pacing and working with actors. He and Damon spend most of the time pumping each other up, and the chemistry between them is undeniable. David Sims of The Atlantic said Air was a great return to Affleck's original impulses as a director. It's a fun, well-made film for grown ups that gives its actors room to flesh out their characters. 214. Also in 2023, Affleck starred as a detective in Robert Rodriguez's action thriller Hypnotic. 215. And made a cameo appearance as Batman in the film The Flash. 216. In 2025, Affleck starred in the action thriller The Accountant 2. In January 2026, he alongside Damon starred in the crime thriller The Rip. 217. He currently has another film in post-production. Ben directed and starred opposite Gillian Anderson in the kidnapping thriller Animals, and is scheduled to release on Netflix on an unknown date. 218. Philanthropy. Eastern Congo Initiative. Main article, Eastern Congo Initiative. Ben Affleck, holding a pen and sitting behind a microphone, looks ahead while offering testimony. Affleck in 2011, testifying before the House Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, and Human Rights. After traveling in the region between 2007 and early 2010, Affleck and Whitney Williams co-founded the non-profit organization Eastern Congo Initiative in 2010. 219. 220. ECI acts as a grant maker for Congolese-led, community-based charities. 221 It offers training and resources to cooperatives of Congolese farmers while leveraging partnerships with companies including Theo Chocolate and Starbucks. 223 ECI also aims to raise public awareness and drive policy change in the United States. 224. Affleck has written op-eds about issues facing Eastern Congo for The Washington Post. 225 226 Politico. 227 The Huffington Post. 228 Time. 229 The New York Times. 230 and The Los Angeles Times. 231 He has appeared as a discussion panelist at many events, including at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. 232 The Global Philanthropy Forum. 233 and the Clinton Global Initiative. 234 During visits to Washington, D.C., Affleck has testified before the House Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, and Human Rights. 235 The House Armed Services Committee. 236 The Senate Foreign Relations Committee. 237 and the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on State, Foreign Operations, and Related Projects. 238 Other charitable causes. Affleck is a supporter of the AT Children's Project. While filming Forces of Nature in 1998, Affleck befriended 10-year-old Joe Kindregan, 1988 to 2015, who had the rare disease ataxia telangiectasia, AT, and his family. 239 He became actively involved in fundraising for AT. 241 and he and Kindregan testified before the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Labor, Health and Human Services, and Education in 2001, asking senators to support stem cell research and to double the budget of the National Institutes of Health. 239 In 2007, Affleck was the keynote speaker at Kindregan's high school graduation ceremony in Fairfax, Virginia. 242 Kindregan appeared as an extra in Argo, 2012. 243 In 2013, in celebration of Kindregan's 25th birthday and 15 years of friendship with Joe and his family, Affleck and Garner matched donations made to the AT Children's Project. 244 Affleck appeared in Cinemability, 2013, a documentary film which explores Hollywood's portrayals of people with disabilities. 245 Ben Affleck speaks into a microphone. Affleck speaking at a Feeding America rally in 2009. Affleck is a supporter of Paralyzed Veterans of America. 246 He filmed public service announcements for the organization in both 2009 and 2014. 247 248 He has also volunteered on behalf of Operation Gratitude. 249 250 Affleck is a member of Feeding America's Entertainment Council. 251 He made an appearance at the Greater Boston Food Bank in 2007. 252 and at a Denver Food Bank in 2008. 253 Affleck spoke at a Feeding America rally in Washington, D.C. in 2009. 254 and filmed a public service announcement for the charity in 2010. 255 Affleck and Ellen DeGeneres launched Feeding America's Small Change campaign in 2011. 256 Also that year, he and Howard Graham Buffett co-wrote an article for the Huffington Post, highlighting the growing percentage of the food insecure population that is not eligible for federal nutrition programs. 257 During the COVID-19 pandemic, Affleck organized an online celebrity poker tournament to benefit the charity. 258 Made a personal donation and urged others to support the cause. 259 Affleck is a supporter of the Los Angeles-based homelessness charity Midnight Mission. 260 261 Having volunteered at and donated to the charity. 262 263 He has also volunteered at Atlanta Mission. 264 Politics. Political views. Affleck has described himself as moderately liberal. 265 He was raised in a very strong union household. 266 in 2000, he spoke at a rally at Harvard University in support of an increased living wage for all workers on campus. His father worked as a janitor at the university. 15 He later narrated a documentary, Occupation, 2002, about a sit-in organized by the Harvard Living Wage Campaign. 267 Affleck and Senator Ted Kennedy held a press conference on Capitol Hill in 2004, pushing for an increase in the minimum wage. 268 He spoke at a 2007 press conference at Boston City Hall in support of SAU's unionization efforts for the city's low-paid hospital workers. 269 During the writers' strike in 2008, Affleck voiced support for the picketers. 270 Affleck is pro-choice. In a 2000 interview, he stated that he believes very strongly in a woman's right to choose. 25 In 2012, he supported the Draw the Line campaign, describing reproductive rights as fundamental. 271 Affleck was a longtime supporter of legalizing gay marriage, saying in 2004 that he hoped to look back on the marriage debate with some degree of embarrassment for how antiquated it was. 272 Also that year, he remarked that it was outrageous and offensive to suggest members of the transgender community were not entitled to equal rights. 273 He appeared alongside his gay cousin in a 2005 Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays print advertising campaign. 274 In 2008, Affleck expressed concern about conspiracy theories claiming Barack Obama was an Arab or a Muslim. This prejudice that we have allowed to fester in this campaign, the acceptance of both of those things as a legitimate slur is really a problem. 275 276 A reporter for The Washington Post overheard Affleck denouncing the Israeli invasion of Gaza at a Washington party in 2009. 277 Stephen Clemens, a participant in the conversation, said Affleck listened to alternative takes. What Affleck spoke about that night was reasoned, complex and made a lot of sense. 278 Later that year, in a New York Times interview, Affleck remarked that his views were closer to those of the Israeli Labor Party than Likud. 279 In 2012, he praised Senator John McCain's leadership in defending Huma Abedin against anti-Muslim attacks. 280 281 Affleck engaged in a widely shared discussion about the relationship between liberal principles and Islam during a 2014 appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher. 282 In a 2017 Guardian interview, he reflected on the viral moment. I strongly believe that no one should be stereotyped on the basis of their race or religion. It's one of the most fundamental tenets of liberal thought. 283 In 2023, Affleck signed the Artists for Ceasefire open letter calling for a ceasefire during the Israeli bombardment of Gaza. 284 Affleck with Russ Feingold and Secretary of State John Kerry in February 2014. Affleck appeared at a press conference with New York Senator Chuck Schumer in 2002, in support of a proposed Anti-Nuclear Terrorism Prevention Act. 285 In 2003, he criticized the questionable and aggressive use of the Patriot Act and the resulting encroachments on civil liberties. 286 Affleck criticized the Bush tax cuts on many occasions. 286 287 288 In 2007, he filmed a public service announcement for Divided We Fail, a nonpartisan AARP campaign seeking affordable, quality health care for all Americans. 289 Affleck expressed support for the Second Amendment in 2004. 265 and said in 2012 that he owns several guns, both for skeet shooting and for the protection of his family. 7 In 2020, he said trips to gun ranges as a young adult made him uncomfortable to remember, given the subsequent tragedies with young people and guns. 290 Affleck appeared alongside then-Senator Barack Obama at a 2006 rally in support of Proposition 87, which sought to reduce petroleum consumption in favor of alternative energy. 291 He appeared in a global warming awareness video produced by the Center for American Progress Action Fund in 2007. 292 Also that year, Affleck admitted he was not particularly good at being green while, in 2014, he named a 1966 Chevelle as his guilty pleasure. 293 12 In 2016, Affleck filmed an endorsement for Respect Our Water, an online petition to stop construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. 294. Democratic Party involvement. Affleck registered to vote as a Democrat in 1992, and has campaigned on behalf of several Democratic presidential nominees. He supported Al Gore in the final weeks of the 2000 presidential campaign, attending rallies in California 295, Pennsylvania 296 and Florida 297. However, Affleck was unable to vote due to a registration issue in New York City, where he was residing at the time, and later joked, "I'm going to vote twice next time," in true Boston fashion. 298. Ben Affleck speaking into a microphone while wearing a Kerry/Edwards campaign t-shirt. Affleck speaking at a John Kerry rally in Zanesville, Ohio, in 2004. Affleck was involved in the 2004 presidential campaign of John Kerry. During the Democratic National Convention in Boston, he spoke to many delegations, appeared on political discussion shows, and attended fundraising events. 299 300 Affleck took part in a voter registration public service announcement 301 and traveled with Kerry during the opening weekend of his Believe in America tour, making speeches at rallies in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio. 302. Affleck campaigned for President Barack Obama. He appeared alongside the then-senator at a 2006 rally, introducing him as the most galvanizing leader to come out of either party, in my opinion, in at least a decade. 291 He donated to Obama's presidential campaign in 2007 303 and hosted two fundraisers for the candidate during the 2008 Democratic primary. 304 305 Affleck urged voters to help make history in a MoveOn.org campaign 306 and made several appearances during the 2008 Democratic National Convention. 307 In the week of the presidential election, he appeared on Saturday Night Live to jokingly endorse Senator John McCain. 308 Affleck did not actively campaign for Obama's re-election in 2012, though he still supported him. 7. Affleck supported Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential election campaign. He first met Clinton at Camp David in 1998 309 and, when she was a Senate candidate in 2000, he introduced her at a Cornell University rally and helped fundraise for her campaign. 310 Affleck pointed to the First Lady's work with children, women, and working families. 311 He supported Obama during the 2008 Democratic primary, noting that Clinton had moved toward the center during the campaign. 293 Affleck donated to Clinton's campaign fund during the 2016 Democratic primary. 312 During the 2016 presidential election, Affleck recorded a New Hampshire voter public service announcement 313 and was named by the Clinton campaign as a Hillblazer, one of 1,100 individuals who had contributed or raised at least $100,000. 314 Open Secrets reported that he raised $149,028. 315. During the latter stages of the 2020 Democratic Party presidential primaries, Affleck said during an interview conducted in Spanish, "I like Bernie, I like Biden, I like Warren, but the thing is that most of all, I don't like Trump." 316. When Biden became the Democratic candidate, he donated to his campaign fund. 317. In 2002, Affleck donated to Dick Jeffords' congressional campaign 318, Robert Reich's campaign for governor of Massachusetts 317, and appeared in campaign literature for former classmate Marjorie Decker, running as a city councilor in Massachusetts. 319 He made donations to the presidential campaigns of both Dennis Kucinich and Wesley Clark in 2003. 320 In 2005, he donated to the campaign fund of Deval Patrick, a candidate for governor of Massachusetts. 321 In 2006, Affleck contributed to Cory Booker's Newark mayoral campaign 322, to Eliot Spitzer's New York gubernatorial campaign 318, and introduced Congressman Joe Courtney and Chris Murphy at rallies in Connecticut. 323 He donated to the 2008 congressional campaign of Pennsylvania's Patrick Murphy 324, and to the 2010 Senate campaign of Kirsten Gillibrand. 318 Affleck hosted a 2012 fundraiser for Senate candidate Elizabeth Warren. 325 Endorsed her in a Progressive Change Campaign Committee video. 326 And made a campaign donation. 318 In 2013, he hosted a fundraiser for Cory Booker. 327 And made donations to the Senate campaigns of both Booker and Allison Lundergan Grimes. 328 329 In 2014, he donated to Bobby Shriver's Los Angeles County Supervisor campaign, and to Prophet Law Omar Walker's California State Assembly campaign. 318 He donated to the campaign of Senate candidate Kamala Harris in 2015, and, in 2016, he donated to the congressional campaign of Melissa Gilbert and the West Virginia Senate campaign of Corey Palumbo. 318 In 2017, he donated to the Senate re-election campaigns of Elizabeth Warren and Chris Coons, and to Adam Schiff's congressional campaign. 331 In 2018, he made contributions to the congressional campaigns of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Sharice Davids, and Leanne Jacobson. 332 And to Michigan gubernatorial candidate Abdul El-Sayed. 333 And Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams. 318 In 2019, Affleck donated to the presidential campaigns funds of both Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. 334 335 And hosted a fundraiser for Booker. 336 Also in 2019, he contributed to the congressional campaign funds of both Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar. 332 In 2020, he spoke at a virtual rally in support of Whitney Williams, a candidate in the 2020 Montana gubernatorial election. 337 And donated to her campaign fund. 318 In 2023, he donated to the Senate campaign of Barbara Lee. 318 In the early 2000s, Affleck often expressed an interest in running for political office. One day 298 But since 2007, he has denied any political ambitions and spoken repeatedly about the need for campaign finance reform. 283 293 338 In 2005, The Washington Post reported that Virginia Democrats were trying to persuade Affleck to run as a Senate candidate. 339 His publicist dismissed the rumor. 340 In 2012, political pundits and Democratic strategists including Bob Shrum and Tad Devine speculated that Affleck was considering running for a Massachusetts Senate seat. 341 Affleck denied the rumor. 342 And joked that he also won't be throwing my hat in the ring to run the UN. 343 Personal life. Relationship with Jennifer Garner. Affleck and Jennifer Garner at the 70th Golden Globe Awards in 2013. Affleck was married to actress Jennifer Garner from 2005 to 2018. They began dating in August 2004. 344 Having established a friendship on the sets of Pearl Harbor, 2001, and Daredevil, 2003. 345 They were married on June 29, 2005, in a private Turks and Caicos ceremony. 346 Victor Garber, who officiated the ceremony, and his partner, Rainer Andreessen, were the only guests. 347 Affleck and Garner have 3 children together. 348, 349, 350. They publicly announced their separation in June 2015. 351 with Affleck continuing to live in a guest house at the family home until mid-2017. 352 They jointly filed for divorce in April 2017, seeking joint physical and legal custody of their children. 353 They jointly hired a mediator to help them negotiate a financial settlement. 354 And the divorce was finalized in October 2018. 355 In 2020, Affleck described the divorce as the biggest regret of my life. 356 And a painful experience, even if you're on the best possible terms and you agree it's the best choice. 357 While Affleck believes paparazzi attention is part of the deal of stardom, he has spoken out against photographs taken at his private residence. 358 And paparazzi interest in his children specifically, who he says became the big money draw for photographers waiting outside his home. 359 In 2013, Affleck and Garner hosted an event for lawmakers at their home in support of a bill that would protect celebrities' children from harassment by photographers. Their 6-year-old daughter made a speech about her personal experiences. 360 Garner also testified before the California Assembly Judiciary Committee in support of the bill. 361 which later became law. Despite the legislation, photographers still regularly waited outside their children's school and police assistance was sometimes required. 362 In 2014, Affleck argued in favor of United Kingdom-style legislation that requires media outlets to blur children's faces in published photos. 12 He has said there are real practical dangers involved in paparazzi attention, citing Garner's longtime stalker, Stephen Berkey. 363 Who was arrested in December 2009 while trying to blend in with paparazzi outside their daughter's preschool. 364 Berkey was charged with 2 counts of stalking, to which he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. In March 2010,